Hello and welcome to CEO Insights, the program that interviews chief executive officers and other senior managers of successful businesses here in Vietnam. I am your host and my name is Leon Shears. I am delighted to say that today we have Nicola Connolly, General Director of Adecco, the very successful HR consultancy company based here in Vietnam. Welcome, Nicola.
Hello, welcome. Thank you.
Yes, interested?
Yeah.
I'm going to start with a normal question that I ask, and that is, why Vietnam?
I think for Adecco, a lot of our Fortune 500 clients are based in Vietnam, so they were sort of questioning why we weren't there to support their needs in Vietnam. So that was one of the main reasons. And then also it complements the rest of the region that we have. So we've got Thailand, Singapore, Hong Kong, South Korea. So it just complemented the rest of the countries that we have within the region.
And for you personally, Vietnam?
Was never on the plan. So I left the UK travelling the backpack and done Laos, I think Cambodia, Singapore, and arrived in Vietnam and stayed, and I think that's 11 years later, still here. So yeah, so it's a very nice place to live and work, so happy.
But not always with Adecco?
No. I originally when I first arrived, I worked for First Alliances, which is a local HR services company, very similar. So I launched their outsourcing division there. And then I moved on to Manpower, which is the first 100% foreign invested. So that was a full launch. Very, very different, lobbying the government. So I've done a couple of years with Manpower. Thought I'd take a break, thought I would never do another opening. And then Adecco met up with them again and they said, right, launch us in Vietnam. So that was 5 years ago. I'll just celebrate my 5-year anniversary with them in February. So.
You mentioned government licenses. Is there any problem in getting a license for an HR company and introducing Western practices? Or are they looking to do that sort of thing because they recognise?
Yeah, I mean, they've made huge changes over the last 10 years. I mean, Manpower was the first 100% foreign invested to allow to do permanent recruitment. It was the first company to get an outsourcing license as well. So when my time with Manpower, we signed a memorandum of understanding with the Ministry of Labour. So there's been a lot of consultation on the Labour Code. The new concept of work, which is subleasing, which is contract dispatch work, which they introduced in the Labour Code 2013. So yeah, there's been a lot of guidance, consulting with the Ministry of Labour and what they need to do in Vietnam to really open the labour force.
And that presumably is quite useful for companies coming in to have somebody with a bit of expertise, because the red tape and bureaucracy here is fairly well known.
I'd like to think so, yeah. I mean, it's difficult to do business in Vietnam. I think if you're new and you haven't got like a man on the ground, so to speak, I think it'd be very, very difficult, because it's very hard to try and explain to, I think, even any Western company why the license process says 45 days and you're waiting 6, 8, 9 months and everything legalised and just the paperwork. We're going for some more licenses with Adecco in the next couple of months, and even our legal counsel was like, that's a huge amount of paperwork to sign and to do. So I think it's important that you have somebody here, like a trusted advisor that you can go to, and hopefully that's Adecco for our company.
Is there anything in the Adecco philosophy that you've had to change to cater for the cultural and traditional aspects of business in Vietnam?
No, not in terms of the methodology or the vision, the mission statement for us. I mean, the sort of logo is better work, better life. So that's definitely something that is very prevalent in Vietnam. People 10 years ago we worked 6 days a week in an office. Now we work 5. This young generation that's coming through, they want to have the balance. So that's actually worked very well for Adecco. Better work, better life. We've also sort of like run a lot of internships, way to work, getting the youth 18 to 24 back into employment. So that's also works. A lot of the stuff that we do has just really taken off in Vietnam. It seems to have captured the imagination. It's good.
Right. Is there, or should I say, what is the big difference between Adecco and maybe the competition? Because there are quite a lot of HR firms out there, both international or national and quite local.
I think, I mean, Adecco, we're world's number one. We've got 60 years worth of experience, 60 countries. I think we're the most profitable bottom line company. We've employed like 800,000 people a day. So, I mean, I think the big difference is it's this global expertise, but with the local knowledge. You know,
is that something that's difficult to put across? Because almost every foreign firm here says the same thing, doesn't it? We're international, but we're local.
Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of education of the market. I mean, the recruitment industry here is really started very baby steps, 1999, 2002, 2003. So, I mean, it's less than sort of 15 years old, so it's very, very young, not that sophisticated in terms of the services that are offered in Vietnam compared to what you do in Thailand or America or Australia. So, I mean, the thing is with Adecco, because we're so huge, you know, and we are the world's number one in terms of people and revenue. It's using all the different solutions that we can have and implementing them in Vietnam. So it's a lot of education of our clients. International clients will want us to perform the services that we do overseas here. The issue is sometimes licensing, you know, what you can and can't do, conditional services. So then it's trying to adapt the service requirement to the delivery model. For local companies, it's much more about education of what you can do. We're not just a recruitment company where you hire somebody. You know, we do consulting, we do managed business service, vendor management, you know, contract management. There's a lot of different things. So it's really educating the market of what can be done, and then how we can adapt it to Vietnam.
And in terms of, you've been here 10, 11 years, has the market in terms of, are you now recruiting more Vietnamese people, or is it still a balance that's really up in international and FDI companies still weighted towards foreigners, or is...
It's been a complete... Vietnam is very cyclical, or has its cycle, sorry. You know, when I arrived, it was expats on secondment, then it was, you know, high-level Vietnamese, then it was local expats, then it was like expats on secondment, then it was local, then it was... So Vietnam keeps on going through these cycles in terms of what they... This is probably their third cycle now that they've gone through. I think things really changed after WTO. I don't think Vietnam was ready to deliver the manpower or you know, what it said it was going to deliver in the WTO. So I think, you know, a lot of companies sort of got caught out, and a lot of FTI that came over realised, well, you don't have that level there yet in terms of senior management. So, I mean, for Adecco, I think 95% of my business is local hires. You know, we cater for about 5% foreign nationals, but it's more Vietnamese nationals. I think we've got over 2,000 people working for us at the moment. So, yeah, it's mainly geared towards the local market, because that's where, you know...
the employers want Vietnamese people.
Yeah, they want...
Is that because they have the experience and the expertise, or because they're low cost, or lower cost, should I say?
No, it's just, I mean, you're in Vietnam, they want Vietnamese workers, you know. If you look, people will only bring over expats now for very, very senior roles, country managers. It's more C-suite, or very specialised technical skills, engineers and teachers. So, you know, those roles are slightly specialised. But, you know, there's a if you bring an expat over in secondment, they tend to be quite expensive. And then whether or not they're going to be able to deliver the goods in the time frame that you have them. So what you tend to find with foreign nationals now, whereas before they'd be over for 2 to 3 years assignment, companies now are putting them up to 5 years, because then they get their return on the investment. Otherwise they're very expensive to have in a short period, unless it's a project. And then they're bringing up the sort of rank and file Vietnamese nationals.
Yes, it's interesting as to whether I mean, we read in the newspapers about the educational system and the need to sort of step that up. Do you find that the candidates at the younger end, I'm not going to say lower end, but the younger end, do you think they're coming through now with better education and better, if you like, strategic thought? Because some of the criticisms are that, you know, Vietnam sometimes can be quite short term.
It's a bit of a loaded question. I'd have to be careful what I say. No, I mean, I was invited by the VCCI and the ILO, I think about 2 weeks ago, to speak at a labour forecasting a report that they're going to launch. And we'd done a presentation, part of it as Adecco and then chairwoman of Eurocham. I mean, one of the things that we sort of advised the ILO, Ministry of Labour, VCCI, was that Vietnam, that's their biggest gap. And that's the biggest risk actually to Vietnam at the moment. I mean, the economy is obviously non-performing loans, SOEs, that type of thing. But in terms of moving them really to a middle-class economy and to continue to attract FDI and also to be able to even supply their own local companies, you know, the education system has to be reformed. It's a huge risk for Vietnam. They may not see the effect in the next sort of like 3 to 5 years, because you've got the FTA being signed in TTP, but the problem is in 10, 15 years time, they're going to really struggle. And Vietnam's not that cheap anymore. Inflation's been very high, you know, and it's more the productivity. It's cheap labour in terms of minimum wage, but the productivity I think is 1/16 of Singapore. So that's the issue that they're going to have. Yeah. You know, the education is not. You know, you have a mismatch of what's being taught and what's needed. Yeah. So I think Vietnam really needs to start dealing with that.
One of the items on the government's agenda is gender equality. Now, from my experience, whenever I go visit a company, I always see far more women than I do men. So where do you think the government strategy on that is going to go?
I mean, Vietnam is actually, we've done a client seminar yesterday, Women in the Workplace, the glass ceiling. I mean, Vietnam is one of the best countries for women being, you know, CEOs, country managers, C-suite. I think like 34% of all board of directors are women in Vietnam compared to Europe. So in that respect, they're very forward thinking. Obviously, a lot of those women will be entrepreneurs. So I think in the commercial sector, you see a lot more women in the workplace. You know, in offices and things like that. Probably if you look at state-owned enterprises, which I think is 40% of the economy, contribute 40% of the economy, it would be the other way around. The state-owned enterprises are male dominated.
Right.
So that I think that's where really the male workforce is in government roles and state-owned enterprises, because that would have been a job for life. You know, and that some of those jobs are inherited from, you know, families to families or generations to generation. So more men in management positions, state-owned government, and then more women in management positions in more FDI.
So as the SOEs become less SO, presumably that will give more and more opportunities for women.
Yeah, and also give more opportunities for men to work in you know, foreign invested or domestic companies, commercial companies. Because I think there's a different probably onus on men in Vietnam. It's still quite traditional, the breadwinner, where women are much more seen as the homemaker, the type of thing. So I think you'll start to see that shift coming through in the next sort of like 5 to 10 years.
2 last questions. One, you mentioned Eurocham.
Yep.
And I know you're heavily involved. How is that progressing?
Really well. I got nominated for my 2nd term today, just about half an hour before this. Yeah, been interesting. First chairwoman, doing my 2nd G now. Yeah, it's been challenging. You know, you're dealing with a lot of different nationalities. We have 7 different business associations or groups.
You're having more success than Brussels, for example.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. No, I mean, you're only as good as your board. I mean, I've been very, very lucky I've got 15 people on the board, and they've been really, really supportive, and you know, they've invested a lot of time and energy in getting Eurochamp back on track. And then we've got 22, you know, internal employees. So yeah, we've grown by about 30-40 members this year. Doubled our sponsorship. We've met the Prime Minister twice last year. Done a lot with the EU delegation. Obviously advised on the FTA. So yeah, no, it's good. It's good. It's a lot of fun. I actually really enjoy it, to be honest. It's really good fun.
And since we've ended on that note on you being happy, where are you going to be in 5 years' time? What are you going to be doing?
Oh God, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I really enjoy Vietnam. You know, I'd like to grow sort of Adecco to the next sort of level. We're still quite a young company, 3 years old in Vietnam. So
could you see yourself, for example, having a regional role rather than just Vietnam?
I don't know. I'd have to. I've got my review next week, so we'll see. No, I mean, I'd probably like in the next 5 years, I'd like to take some time out and probably, you know, do an MBA or executive MBA. You know, go back to school. I think would be interesting to do that. I don't know. I have to see what the future holds. I only look at 2016 at the moment, and my commitments there, and then see what happens.
Anything you'd like to say that we haven't mentioned?
No, that's fine. I'm happy. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much indeed for your time,
welcome.
and I know you're a busy lady.
Thank you.
So thank you very much for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you very much indeed for watching us today, and I hope you enjoyed the episode as I did, and I hope you will come back and watch us again. Thank you. Thank you for watching. Thank you.